Hello and welcome to another edition of Focus on Morris County. I'm Joe Garifo. Focus on Morris County is a program that's designed to keep us up to date on the actions that are being taken by the Morris County Board of Freeholders. And the show is also intended to make us all more aware of the many facets of Morris County government. On this segment of the program, we are going to be discussing some county government issues with my guest. He is Morris County Freeholder David Scapicchio. Freeholder Scapicchio is a former deputy director of the Freeholder Board. He is a Republican from Mount Olive, and he is in the midst of his third year as a freeholder. Freeholder Scapicchio chairs the Freeholder Capital Budget Facilities Review Committee. He's Freeholder Liaison to Public Works and to the Municipal Utilities Authority. He is an alternate liaison to the Improvement Authority and the Housing Authority. He's a voting member of the County Insurance Fund and a member of the Shared Services Committee. And they're keeping you busy, aren't they?
They keep me busy. Yes,
welcome,
they do.
Welcome to the program.
Hello, Joe.
I mentioned these freeholder liaison ships only because each of the 7 freeholders here in Morris County serves as a liaison to a various county department or county office. How do you view the role of a freeholder liaison?
The liaison role is really a link between the departments that we are liaisons to and the Freeholder Board. And it's really important when it comes down to budget time, so that the liaison should have a fairly good idea of what the departments need. So it's a link between them and the board itself.
And I know the liaison also keeps the rest of the Freeholder Board apprised of what your various departments and offices are doing throughout the course of the year.
That is correct. Yeah. And actually I spend more time as in my role as a liaison to these different departments than I actually do as a freeholder, at our freeholder meetings.
Yeah.
There's more time spent outside of the admin building than inside.
Let's talk about the county budget, first of all. The 2015 county budget is in. For the third year in a row, the county tax rate is at a 0% increase. And I want to ask you, how were the freeholders able to accomplish this 3 years in a row?
The Christie reforms have really helped. Pension reform. We also have a policy in place now where the employees have begun and continue to contribute towards their health insurance. That has really been the biggest driver in terms of the savings that the county has realized. And we've prioritized some of the projects. I mean, the focus now is maintaining the infrastructure and the assets that the county owns rather than building and adding new ones.
As you look at the 2015 budget and in particular the operating budget, are there any specific areas that you would like to highlight that you think our viewers and the citizens of Morris County should really be aware of?
Our focus has been on roads, bridges, and education. We've given $1 million towards CCM this year to renovate this media center. The focus has been on trying to create smaller, more efficient government, and I think we've been able to do that.
Let's take a look at the infrastructure improvements, because I mentioned that you chair the Capital Budget Facilities Review Committee. First of all, what is the function of that particular committee?
That committee meets throughout the year.
Yeah.
Once we put together our capital budget, we monitor the projects that have been approved. When we first received the capital budget request from all the departments, it was about $50 million. And through hard work on our part, the committee's part, and the administration, we were able to prioritize, and we got that down to about $25 million. And again, the focus has been, and it is with this capital budget, roads, bridges, and infrastructure.
When we talk about our roads, I know that the last couple of years the freeholders have had an enhanced road resurfacing and repaving program. That is being carried over into 2015. What can you tell us about that particular program?
We're continuing to be aggressive when it comes to that. I mean, as you can see now, the roads, I believe, are worse than they were in the winter of 2013/14. So we want to continue to be aggressive. We have authorized the money needed and have given staff the ability to now plan early. The thought process is if we have our plans and specifications out early enough, we'll get good pricing. Oil prices have been depressed. We think we'll be able to get either save some money or pave some additional miles.
When we talk about paving miles, last year it was, what, approximately 32 miles of county-maintained roadways that were resurfaced, compared to about an average of maybe like 17 that we've normally done. Are we looking at about the same number of miles being resurfaced this year?
Last year we did about 33.
Okay.
This year we have 30 miles planned. It's a little more than 10% of the county maintained roadways. We have about 280 miles of roads. And we want to, I've been the advocate ever since I've been on that board for roads. And to the board's credit, this is the one item that is unanimous across the board. Everybody supports it. The program has been very popular with the public. And the feeling is that we need to be able to move people around quickly and safely in the county.
Yeah.
We have Fortune 500 companies here, and we need to keep the traffic moving along.
There were also several bridges, I believe, that are earmarked for capital budget monies. What can you tell us about the bridge projects?
Well, we have a few bridges. We have Main Street over Harmony Brook in Mendham, the Ironia Road over Burnett Brook in Randolph, Combe Hollow Road over the tributary to the India Brook in Mendham, and Flanders Drake's Town over the Raritan River in Mount Olive Township.
We hear a lot these days about the state's Transportation Trust Fund and how that particular fund is running short of money. How would that impact Morris County and our plans to continue this aggressive road repaving project should the trust fund run out of money?
This year it's not going to affect the county at all. We have been put on notice that those funds may be delayed, and we may not receive them. It's $4 million, but as you know, the county took some action at Wednesday's meeting to float a temporary note so that we can have that $4 million available to continue the road projects. We spend about a little over $10 million on road resurfacing each year. So we wanted to make sure that staff had the resources so they can plan these projects early.
Okay. Let's switch gears a little bit. One of the most recent issues that came before the board in 2015 was whether religious institutions should remain eligible for funding projects under the county's Historic Preservation Trust Fund. The freeholders adopted a resolution maintaining the eligibility. How did you come to that conclusion? I mean, I know the board heard arguments on both sides, but why did the freeholders reach the conclusion that they did?
I think ultimately we realized that, these churches are built to last forever. They provide a service above religion. A lot of them have food pantries, soup kitchens, and they serve the community in a number of other capacities than religious. So the thought was the program has been in place for a while, and we wanted to continue the program.
And these buildings, many of them do, I mean, obviously all of them that are funded do have historic significance to the county's rich history.
I mean, if you drive around Morristown or Madison, some of these buildings are absolutely beautiful, both inside and outside.
Now, the same resolution also reaffirmed the Freeholder Board's commitment to historic preservation in general. Why was that added?
Our history is very important. So, we realized that and we wanted to continue to fund it. And the Historic Preservation group does a great job in Morris County. And, this is a great place to live. We want to continue the efforts that have been put in place before us, and hopefully freeholders that come in after us will continue the same programs.
Now, we've talked about some county government issues. We've talked about the budget, the capital budget, historic preservation. What are some of your priorities, David, in terms of maybe some of the issues that you would like to see addressed over the next few months, or you would like to see the board as a whole address over the next few months?
I'd like to continue the status quo. I mean, the effort and the focus of this board and you can see that in this year's budget, has been on education and our infrastructure, and we want to continue to do that. We want to continue to try to make government a little bit more efficient, although it's very efficient in Morris County, but we think we can always make some improvements. And staff has been very helpful towards that end and that goal. So I think moving forward, we want to continue what we began, and that is, infrastructure, the assets that the county owns, and education.
You mentioned more efficiencies, and I know that several departments and county government offices reorganized last year in 2014, including the Departments of Planning and Development and the Department of Public Works. They merged into what is now the Department of Planning and Public Works, to which you are the liaison. How has that merger worked in the last year or so? My
understanding is it's worked out fine. As you know, Steve Hammond retired a little over a year and a half ago. Dina Leary took over as the Director of Planning and Public Works, and Chris Vitz, who was under Steve Hammond, is now the engineer. So Steve retired. Steve was not replaced. We saved some money there, and Dina and Chris have done a great job in reorganizing that department.
Freeholder David Scapicchio, I want to thank you very much for being with us today. I know we've only just scratched the surface in terms of county government issues, but if there is an issue that you have a question about, if there is a county government suggestion that you might have, by all means feel free to call the Morris County Freeholders Office, and that number is 973-285-6010. And if you're interested in up-to-date news about your county government, by all means visit the county government's website. That is morriscountynj.gov. And once you're there, you can sign up for the county's electronic newsletter. That is Morris County Connections, and you'll be getting county government news delivered straight to your inbox. And also, while you're on the county website, you can become a fan of county government on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. You can view our past programs and informational videos on YouTube. Visit Morris County's document library on Scribd, and you can also check out some county photos from various events on Flickr. I'm Joe Garifo. Thank you very much for being with us, but don't go away because we will be right back.
Are you pregnant, scared, or a new mother who can't care for your newborn?
There's a safe haven in New Jersey.
You or a friend can bring an infant to any hospital or police station and give up custody safely, legally, and anonymously.
No questions asked, no shame, no blame, no names.
Call 1-877-839-2339 or visit njsafehaven.org to learn more. Remember,
New Jersey has a safe haven for unwanted infants.
Brought to you by the New Jersey Department of Children and Families.
Welcome back to Focus on Morris County. I'm Joe Garifo, and on this segment, we are going to provide you with some information about the county's household hazardous waste and computer TV disposal day events that are scheduled for 2015. My guest is Tom Burbridge. Tom is Hazardous Waste Coordinator with the Morris County Municipal Utilities Authority, the sponsoring agency for the disposal events. Tom, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Tom, for anyone who has not participated in any of these events, give us an overview of what happens and what the general idea behind these events is.
Well, general idea or the main purpose of these events is to give the residents of Morris County a safe, convenient, and environmentally friendly way to dispose of their household hazardous waste and used consumer electronics.
Now, in 2015, I understand there are 3 of these disposal events that are scheduled. Tom, if you would, can you give us the dates, the locations, the time for each of these 3 events?
Okay. All right. Yeah, there are 3 events scheduled for this year. And they're from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., rain or shine. The first event's going to be Saturday, May 30th at the Morris County Public Safety Training Academy, which is on 500 West Hanover Ave in Parsippany. Second event's going to be Saturday, September the 12th, again at the Morris County Public Safety Training Academy. And the third and final event for the year is going to be Sunday, October 18th, at the Jefferson Township DPW garage, which is at 1033 Weldon Road in Lake Apacon.
Now, Tom, when it comes to electronic equipment that will be accepted at each of these three events, there's a category that is called covered e-waste.
Yes.
What items come under this term, covered e-waste?
Okay. Well, first of all, at these events, we accept all electronics from households.
Okay.
Covered e-waste is a term that covers computers, monitors, televisions, and personal computers, which could be laptops, notebooks, tablets, smartphones, iPads, any of those type items.
So these items cannot be placed in the regular trash or should not be placed in the regular trash?
Cannot. State law, state of New Jersey says those items, those covered e-waste items cannot be placed in residents' regular trash.
And what is so harmful about some of these items?
Well, these items would have, let's see, lead, mercury, cadmium, which are all toxic heavy metals, which are hazardous to both human health and the environment, and that's why these items are can't go in the regular trash.
Okay, now that's covered e-waste. What are some of the other electronic devices that can be brought to these events?
Okay, people can bring stereos, they can bring VCRs, DVD players, printers, copiers, I guess boom boxes, any type of electronic device from the household.
Okay. Is there a fee for dropping off the electronic devices or the covered e-waste?
Yeah, no fee. There used to be years ago, but there's no fee anymore. So,
when it comes to some of these items, Tom, I understand that over the past few years there are more towns that are accepting these kinds of items than there were maybe even 3, 4, or 5 years ago. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Joe. As of right now, 31 of the 39 municipalities in Morris County have e-waste recycling collection points at their recycling centers, which is huge. I mean, that's a big deal for Morris County. Residents don't have to go all the way to our permanent facility or these events. They can go right to their town center and get rid of their e-waste in their town. And residents also, if they're not sure, they can look at our website, which is mcmua.com. If they want, they can see the list of towns and see if their town participates. So.
Yeah. What about non-governmental agencies, retail establishments, those types of facilities? Do they accept covered e-waste or electronic devices as well?
Yeah, there are businesses, Best Buy, Staples, Goodwill. Those are ones that come to mind right now. They accept these items. Again, residents could go to our website and to look at the list of businesses that will accept these items, which is good because there are these businesses closer to people where people live, and makes it more convenient for them.
Now, there were a couple of items that you did not mention, and I'm a little curious about these items when it comes to electronic waste or appliances, those kinds of things.
Okay.
Now, I would think, for example, that a microwave oven would be considered something hazardous and would be accepted. Is that not true?
That is not true. Yes, I mean, a lot of people think that you would think it would be something that should be recycled.
Well, because the microwaves all over the place.
Yeah, little radiation.
Yeah, when you're nuking food, you would think that it would be a hazardous appliance.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no way to recycle them, so they're neither hazardous waste nor e-waste. So. The thing residents would need to do with microwaves would be to actually throw them out in the regular trash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about batteries?
Batteries, your household batteries, which would be like your alkaline, your carbon zinc, which are your AA's, AAA's, your C's, D's, 9 volts. They can be thrown in the garbage. Not hazardous, so they can be thrown away. Your rechargeables, lithiums, button cells, and lead acids, car batteries, boat batteries, things like that, need to be recycled and can be brought to these events.
Okay. Okay, so now let's talk about, we've talked about electronics, and let's talk about the household hazardous wastes that you will accept at each of these 3 events. Give us some examples of these materials that will be accepted.
Okay. Yeah, residents can bring, automotive fluids. They can bring things like motor oil, gasoline, antifreeze, transmission fluid, power steering fluid, brake fluid. They can bring, batteries. We just talked about car batteries, recyclable batteries. They can bring, pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, oil-based paints, stains, paint thinners, pool chemicals, darkroom chemicals. They can bring fluorescent bulbs.
Okay.
They can bring driveway sealant, propane and helium tanks, mercury-containing devices like thermostats and thermometers.
Okay. Now you mentioned oil-based paints. What about latex paint? If we have, in my basement, I may have half a gallon of a latex paint that is maybe 10 years old.
Yeah.
How do I get rid of that?
Yeah, latex paint we do not take. Latex paint is non-hazardous, so we need to, we want residents to solidify their latex paint with kitty litter or clay speedy dry and throw it out in the regular trash. That's what we encourage residents to do.
If someone has a liquid or a powder considered to be a hazardous waste, is it advisable to make sure that these things are in containers when they're brought to the site?
Well, it's absolutely important that we know what we're receiving at these events. If you have something that you don't know what it is, if there's no label on it or whatnot, we need to know.
Okay.
We need to know what it is so we can handle it safely to protect the people handling the equipment, the materials.
Yeah. Now, for these materials that are brought to these events, is there a fee for these?
No, there are no fee for any of these items.
Okay. Now, are these events for Morris County residents only? Can a business come by and drop off some of these items at any one of these events?
Yeah, these events are strictly for residents. No businesses and Morris County residents. No out-of-county residents, no businesses, no schools. This is strictly for residents bringing residential waste.
So if a business or a school has some of these materials, how do they get rid of them? Does the MUA make any provisions for disposal for businesses and schools?
Yeah, the MUA we have a permanent household hazardous waste facility. It's up in Mount Olive. It's by appointment only, open 2 mornings a week. And small businesses and schools can contact us to schedule an appointment to come to the permanent facility.
Okay. And again, before this segment ends, we'll be giving you the contact information and the dates and locations again. But Tom, how much material was collected at the events that the MUA sponsored last year?
Last year we collected, I believe it was over 235,000 pounds of household hazardous waste, and over 169,000 pounds of used consumer electronics.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That is amazing.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
How are these events funded? Do the freeholders, does the county fund these? The MUA fund these?
No, the MUA funds them, but they usually fund them with grant money from the state.
Okay.
Yeah, that grant money usually comes from recycling, programs and stuff. So, but yeah, usually it's the MUA and grant money from the state.
Okay. Now you mentioned schools and businesses can drop off items at the permanent facility. If a resident of Morris County cannot make, for whatever reason, one of these 3 events, can they also contact you and the MUA and arrange to make an appointment at the permanent facility in Mount Olive?
Absolutely. If residents can't make, and that happens a lot of times, they can't make these events, they can call us at our, they can call us at our 973-829-8006 number and set up an appointment for our permanent hazardous waste facility.
Okay. Tom, I want to give the folks the dates and locations again for the 3 household hazardous waste and computer TV disposal day events that are coming up this year here in Morris County. The first is Saturday, May 30th at the Public Safety Training Academy on West Hanover Avenue in Parsippany. The second one, also at the Academy, is Saturday, September the 12th. And the third event is Sunday, October 18th. That is at the Jefferson Township Department of Public Works on Weldon Road in Lake Hopatcong. And for information on these or any other activity that the MUA is involved with, you can call 973-829-8006. You can also visit the MUA's website, which is mcmua.com. Tom Burbridge, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Now, if you have a question about Morris County government, you can call the Morris County Freeholders Office at 973-285-6010. You can also visit the county government's website at morriscountynj.gov. Once you're there, you can sign up for the county's electronic newsletter, Morris County Connections. You can also like us on Facebook, follow Morris County Government on Twitter, view our past programs and other informational videos on YouTube, browse through the county's document library on Scribd, and check out photos from various county events on Flickr. I'm Joe Garifo. Thank you very much for being with us. Tune in again next week at this time, won't you, for another edition of Focus on Morris County.